a very meta pick right now, especially with this bunker, but Kodak has loved playing Moira, and Atlanta Academy have been very adamant in keeping their supports on that Moira-Lucio combination. Of course, they are going to be preparing for the international competition, so maybe trying out the look, the Ana Baptiste look, will serve them well in the future, but right now, not doing so hot.
I believe the winner of this match gets slotted very close, either in the quarterfinals or very close to it. So the #1 seed here is going to be able to skip a lot of the tough outs, and then because they'll be the #1 seed from North America, they'll go up against the weakest of the remaining region. So you really want to be that 1 seed. A 2 seed's fine too. You might find yourself in a position where you could potentially win out your bracket that way too, but being a 1 seed gives you a distinct advantage, and a Team Envy already using the Lantern. Look how low they are. Fire and Crimson are really going to have to push a lot of healing into the rest of the team, and they're able to do that as Atlanta Academy are unable to take advantage of the low health. They couldn't take care of the Lantern, and so Atlanta Academy now with 50% on it. That Nano putting after already pretty much amplification. Maybe looking at the other side, Fire already using it. Sugarfree's already setting that crossfire. He's going to deal with that Lantern himself, but Team Envy's dealing with Atlanta Academy in the meantime. This is more of the same coming in from Assault. Is Atlanta Academy unfocused when they actually get to the objective?
Yeah, Team Envy knew that they were going to be opening themselves up to Sugarfree's crossfire. You saw him on the Hanzo across the catwalk on the high ground, shelling into Team Envy. But again, just like in our last series between XL2's Gladiators Legion, there's always an option to simply win the ground game. Happy Cool again on this Roadhog, helping Team Envy demolish the Atlanta bunker, and at that point, one Hanzo is not going to be doing anything against a full team of 6 members. As we head into Streets phase, now we might see this Ana finally come into play. Atlanta Academy are giving up the option of a defensive trance, but this Nano could turn Sugarfree or Saucy into a monster.
Sugarfree has that Dragon Strike. This is a really great way to clear out the payload and give Atlanta Academy a chance to position in a more powerful way. They also have an ultimate advantage, at least for the time being. Crimzo has the Transcendence, though, and that's going to be able to rebuff a lot of what Atlanta Academy is going to be throwing at them. He's going to be waiting for that Blizzard.
The Blizzard is the key to Atlanta winning, so Team Envy is Crimzo going to have his finger hovering over the Q, and indeed he lets it rip.
Team Envy also going to be using a lot of their ultimates. Also going to be the first to use the Blizzard, and they're going to wall off the Aritza. He's going to fall. Nunlock going to have to try once more with Team Envy, as Atlanta Academy seem to have taken the payload back from Team Envy.
This is exactly where you want to hold as the defenders. It's so hard for Team Envy to break out of this spawn. They're playing in very close quarters, and that Blizzard from Atlanta Academy caught only 1, but that's all you need. No mercy on the side of Envy, so every death is permanent, and getting the Orisa is the best possible option for Atlanta, who still have plenty of ultimates, and in such a close corridor, Sugarfree's Dragon Strike can easily find value.
Supercharger is not going to be enough to cause more casualties for Atlanta Academy, because Team Envy is the one that's going to find themselves down a man. Dragon Strike's going to help Atlanta Academy as well. The Lantern gets brought out and is going to help Team Envy stay alive, hopefully remain a 66 after someone responds and comes back, as Crimson does find Gator. So this is a really great opportunity for Team Envy to attack the payload, but with the return kill onto Happy, they finally killed him. Team Envy still 5 members. Atlanta Academy 5 members. Only Astro also has the amplification matrix, uses the Lantern, which is that immortality field, and now they're in a good position once more. This is pretty much in a reset. Trades going both ways, but Jaru, we talked about way earlier on how that right click is something that's very underrated about Maze's hit, and he's using it to the best of his ability and actually gets 2 kills from it, and Atlanta Academy will fall now after Team Envy win a bit of a war of attrition there.
Yeah, eventually Envy do grind things out, and Atlanta Academy, despite the fact that they were trading, they are going to eventually lose the fight due to spawn disadvantage. But it was a very close thing. Sugarfree was living on the high ground the entire time, and Team Envy just weren't able to challenge him out. If Atlanta Academy had a little bit more time, things might have gone differently, but as it was, Saucy was like, I want another Blizzard, I need another Blizzard, man, let's draw this trance out.
What an eat from Hawk. No dragons for you, as Atlanta Academy are going to use their Mega Transcendence. Crimson is going to help everyone from Team Envy stay alive. So is the Lantern. Really great hook from Happy Cool, who's going to take down Hawk. Team Envy are able to continue their approach. They were able to get the second point already, but this is just going to open it up even more.
They say, when pigs fly, Happy Cool descending from the heavens like an avenging hog. Atlanta Academy now backs against their own spawn. Need to find a little bit of space here in order for Sugar Free to be operating at max. He has the dragons to try and accomplish that. We could also see the Nano come onto one of the tanks and just let them face tank all of that damage.
Dragon Strike comes through, opens up the payload a little bit for Atlanta Academy, but they're down a member. How long are they going to be able to stay there? The shield from Orisa already taken down. Self-destruct now coming in from Hawk, causing Team Envy to reposition, but it lands onto the high ground. The positioning on that, not quite where Atlanta Academy wanted. Saucy coming back, though, taking down the Orisa. No, Orisa's on at both sides, and Atlanta Academy finally finding a little bit of footing for themselves, pushing Team Envy back. This is going to be a little bit of a reset, but Happy Cool has found himself behind Atlanta Academy. Now they do. They did spot him out. He does get the hook, and the fatigue too is Nana, but he got in the way on accident, able to take down Happy Cool. Atlanta Academy still fighting this out, but so is Team Envy.
Yeah, and Team Envy actually starting to win the attrition battle, but with that kill onto Numlock, there's not going to be a body to hold that cart down, so Sharp will have to back out. Atlanta Academy really playing on the edges of defeat right now, again allowing Happy Cool into their backline. It was really lucky that Funny Astro was able to catch him out, or we could easily have seen a repeat of Anubis.
Atlanta Academy really needs Sugar Free and Saucy to start making things happen. It was Funny Astro that brought that one back, even though he got a little help from Happy Cool himself. The Nano also, I believe, went on him as well as Kodak now on the Zenyatta.
Kodak is on the Zen. He wants that Transcendence to try and counter Jaru's Blizzard.
So if you fortify or use cryo right when the halt gets you or latches onto you, you're going to fly a lot further away, and that's a great way to block the hook from someone else as well. So it's one of those techs that you're going to see more and more often. It's Atlanta Academy using a couple ultimates, and they're using them to the best of their ability because they're finding those picks finally. Atlanta Academy have stabilized. Even though they've got the last two defenses, this is the defense that really makes you feel, okay, they've gotten their claws into the ground, they're ready to go.
They're digging in, they want this hold, but Team Envy have more than just that desire burning in their hearts. They got ultimates, not only Whole Hog, but the Blizzard and Amplification Matrix as well. Atlanta Academy are close to the Transcendence, but that's only going to be able to save the team against one of those ultimates. Team Envy, of course, running their own sniper, has the opportunity to simply snipe Atlanta Academy out and remove one of those ultimates.
Self-destruct, though, will be available for Atlanta Academy, and that's an ultimate that it isn't available for Team Envy. Sugar Free gets very, very low. The Lantern is not where he is, so he's going to have to find himself some help somehow, either by a pack. The Gator is going to get a lot of the healing from the Transcendence, but this is healing everyone at the same time. Atlanta Academy may be a little bit off for the time at being a Sugar Free using that Dragon Strike, and you see the positioning there. It just takes the payload away from Team Envy. It buys them 5 to 10 seconds to set, calm down, and get ready for the next engage. A hook onto the maze not going to be enough to take her down. Hawk using that self-destruct to take down the Lantern's immortality, but it will be no more for Team Envy, so they're going to have to just take the kills from here on out until that cooldown comes up. It's going to be in about 10 seconds, and it's not a lot of time because they're only 5 seconds away from the end of this round. Atlanta Academy still have everyone alive except for Kodak. It's 65 now for Team Envy, and Happy Cool using that whole hog to push Atlanta Academy away. The wall is there, and it's clutch. It's going to block a lot of that damage, and then Team Envy also going to block a little bit of their own damage with that wall, but Sugar Free starting to pop off here. He's going to have another Dragon Strike in no time, but he's not even going to need it as Happy Cool is the sole survivor on the payload, and Team Envy will be unable to finish Nambani.
Unlucky again, the ultimate timings just missing out for Team Envy. Sugar Free popped a Dragon Strike that got nothing. Envy was already behind the corner and didn't need it, but Crimzo potentially feeling that Envy was so close to a victory pops Transcendence anyways, and that opens up just a multitude of doorways for Atlanta Academy with that ultimate off the table. Saucy's Blizzard could be free, but Atlanta Academy honestly didn't even end up needing that ultimate to win out the fight because of Sugar Free. That Hanzo living in the trees, hanging out, being a hippie, just shelling down on Team Envy, who really had no way to challenge him out since Haffy was on a Roadhog and not on Diva. So Team Envy kind of just getting a little bit too patient, almost too respectful of Atlanta Academy and not necessarily pushing their advantage when they had it.
Team Envy unable to finish Numbani, giving Atlanta Academy a win condition. There might be one push away from moving up 2-1 in this first to 4. Again, just to remind everyone at home, this is for seeding going into the Gauntlet. Whoever wins here will be the first seed. Whoever loses will be the second seed. And you really want to be the first seed. Just like in the NCAA tournament, the first seed gets the weakest opponent to start things off. And so you really want to find yourself with that number 1 next to your name. You want to avoid O2 Blast, which is my pick to potentially win Korean Contenders. But you want to avoid the top tier teams from around the world, and finding that number 1 seed is how you do it. That's what these two teams are fighting for.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good test as well, a proof of concept for some of the different types of compositions that Atlanta Academy has been trying to run so far. And again, they're going to go with something a little unorthodox, guessing not so unorthodox as to run Attack Torb. He's yet to get that buff that I've been clamoring for, that you've been clamoring for, let Torb Earth Shatter. So Atlanta Academy are going to go with the composition that they ran first on Busan, the Somber Reaper comp. They do have Gator on the Winston this time around, followed by Hawk on the Diva. So this is a pretty mobile composition. You can find some really good dives between the two tanks and Saucy. As of right now, though, Hawk is hacked. He's going to have to give a little bit more space.
Atlanta Academy's comp is all about getting into your face, and you saw Sugar Free do just that, zoning out Happyful into the back line. Happyful's also going to be hacked, but Jaru finds the kill onto Gator. Hawk now is going to be hacked. It's the Sombra going on both ways. Actually, pretty even so far. A little bit ahead for Envy, and they're going to stay ahead because they find themselves in this defense. Not a tick for Atlanta Academy.
No, but they're not going to be too upset about that, actually, because anytime you're running a Sombra, you're essentially just playing for that EMP. EMP is the key to the vast doorways of Anubis, and Saucy has been just a monster in terms of ultimate generation. 85% within that very first fight. You could hardly ask for better, so Team Envy need to start playing split. The way that Atlanta Academy took down this pharmacy in the past was focusing down Garo, keeping him uncomfortable.
6-man EMP comes through from Sharp, and the rest of the kills will follow. Even though Jaru falls, he's got a friend in fire. He's going to move right back up as Atlanta Academy will pull their EMP for the next fight. But looking at Team Envy versus Atlanta Academy, even though there are 2 opens for Atlanta Academy, everyone else getting to theirs quite slowly versus what Team Envy's been able to do on the defensive side.
Yeah, Sugar Free again on this Reaper, slow to an ultimate. Now, Death Blossom is not necessarily a fight-winning ult like we see EMPs or Blizzards being. It's pretty risky. The Reaper often can get stunned out of it or just die outright, but it does mean that he's having a hard time racking up that damage. Team Envy has been essentially playing keep away from a hero that doesn't have a ton of range.
EMP goes through, and they're focusing on the bird in the sky, Jaru, who finds himself some safety. It's funny, Asher going to find the kill onto the Diva. 65 now for Atlanta Academy. They still have to deal with the Pharah in the sky. Sugar Free aggressing upon the Orisa. Eventually, Numlock should fall, but the support is there. What's happening on Anubis? This time it's going to be Numlock, and Sugar Free is going to get a kill on the Sharp with the Death Loss, but it leads him to be a city duck to everyone else. And even though he falls, the rest of his team still find themselves on top in terms of numbers. The 0.8 take for Atlanta Academy. Numlock gets res though.
Numlock does get res. Jaru still has Barrage. The hack does not kill the Mara outright. And Atlanta Academy might be kicking themselves for allowing this to happen again. Jaru finds 2 picks. That's going to be enough to make up for Fire's death, especially with this hack from Sharp.
Sharp does go down. Sugar Free takes him, and this has been a brawl on the point. These are the remaining members here. Justin, Orisa, and a Wrecking Ball. Saucy's gonna have to translocate away, find a little bit of health, but Sugar Free, just like on Busan, is gonna bring it back for Atlanta Academy. Wow, what a back and forth. The advantage went both ways multiple times on that fight, and this is what you expect from 2 top tier teams coming after each other. And now we're seeing exactly why 222 is also so fun to watch, is that individual performance is going to be so much more impactful, even in these metas. Even though some people are calling this new GOATs, right? It is still all about you can make plays. The DPS can individually change the course of the game, and Sugar Free did just that. You
don't have an ultimate? It's okay, I'll just dink heads the old-fashioned way. And Sugar Free's going to swap onto Hanzo to better achieve that goal, as Saucy is hunting for EMP victims in the back. Team Envy are all vulnerable.
EMP hits 3 of Team Envy. Lagging behind a little bit. Saucy also gets an extra hack onto the Orisa, so no shield for them. And that means the halt's not going to be available for them too. You halt the Orisa, then you take away the halt hook combo. It's a lot more impactful than one might originally see. It's not just the person that you're attacking that's effective, it's the team and your plan as well.
Exactly. Team Envy now will just have to straight up give up Street space and hope that their 3rd point defense holds. Crimzo is going to swap onto the Zenyatta now. We're also going to see a couple more swaps from the defense. Team Envy has to play the long game at this point. Crimzo doesn't have Trance now, but having the possibility of a Trance to combat a Blizzard is better than just giving your opponents a free Blizzard each time, because you know Saucy's going to find value from that ultimate.
Dragon Strike from Atlanta Academy. Good wall from Atlanta Academy as well. Will they be able to find any value from it? The answer is yes, as Happy Pull falls, and so does that Zenyatta. Sugarfree's starting to really pop off. This kid is pretty good at this game, if I say so myself.
And they're only 10 years old.
I heard he was 9.
What?
Yeah, and so Atlanta Academy, he's going to be an owl eventually, I am sure. Because Sugarfree is surely a talent that we're going to see for the years to come. Kind of like Alarm in that way, where we got to see him grow in Contenders, and now that he's going to be able to get into owl very soon, all eyes will be on him. Sugarfree still has a couple more years to go in Contenders. He's eligible for owl, but he's already making a name for himself here.
Yeah, definitely padding the CV. Atlanta Academy winning out Numbani on the backs of their DPS Sugarfree. Team Envy getting a little bit taken off guard by the pace of Atlanta Academy's attack once Sugarfree did swap onto the Hanzo. There was a moment when it looked like Envy would full hold, like one Orisa and one Pharah versus the world, but alas, they lost their Ana too soon, and Atlanta Academy with the superior spawns were able to push their advantage literally all the way to the golden box of victory.
2-1 now for Atlanta Academy. Let's break down this map a little while longer, because this actually first fight was what Atlanta Academy was really struggling with on Assault. Just Sugarfree doing his own thing, trying to find those picks, and the rest of his team falls. And so it's kind of like what back in the day, like with Goats, when there was a Pharah on the other team, do you focus on the Pharah or do you focus on the ground, right? And even though the Hanzo is not the Pharah, you have to make those choices. And we can only talk about the Widowmaker from KSP from last game too. It's, do you just let the Widowmaker shoot, hopefully they miss, and focus on his friends? Or do you focus on the Widowmaker and potentially, you know, lose to the group on the ground? And I think Atlanta Academy focusing a lot on Sugarfree, making sure that those picks come, and Team Envy not able, or making sure that those picks don't ever come at the beginning, but eventually Sugarfree did start to pop off.
Sugarfree broke free, really. And Team Envy, despite their own very impressive push, they kind of bungled their opportunity to finish the map and give themselves a chance to get into extra innings. So Atlanta Academy had a really clear win condition. And even on defense, Sugarfree really had some moments. Basically, he was the reason that Team Envy didn't finish Numbani. They were never able to knock him out of that tree he was camping in, and he used that high ground so beautifully, just like he did on the Streets phase, utilizing that statue. And Team Envy, while the ground game did earn them a point A, eventually by the end we saw Happy Cool's Roadhog kind of cooling off. We weren't finding the same value from those hooks, and Team Envy didn't have a ton of other damage options.
Yeah, Team Envy really cooling off at the tail end of both of the last couple maps, and Atlanta Academy taking advantage of that as they walk through Numbani after struggling on point A. And so it's not, I mean, 6-man EMP here is a really great example. It's not been completely easy for Atlanta Academy throughout any of these maps. Team Envy really making Atlanta Academy work more consistently than any other team has throughout the regular season and playoffs against them, and this is going to be really good for Atlanta Academy. We've all heard about the scrims they've had against Overwatch League teams, but Team Envy is going to be a little bit closer to what most of the teams at the Gauntlet are going to feel like, bar some of the Korean teams.
Yeah.
And I actually think Talon Esports might make some noise when they're there too, and so this is really good to really test the mettle against people from your own region, and then comparatively try to get a lot of information going into the Gauntlet from your friends here in North America.
Exactly. More experience, more game time is never going to be a bad thing, especially when you have such a shift in the meta as we've experienced in the last couple of weeks of Contenders. So everybody's still learning, everybody's still testing out exactly what kind of strategies they want to bring. And Atlanta Academy, big fan of the spawn camp. I'm really curious if we're going to see the Igloo. We do have an Orisa, and we do have Saucy's May. So the strategy is you bunker up in that little room on the right side and just use your bodies and alternate shield and wall to contest the payload. It's uber frustrating.
It has yet to work ever in Contenders, but we definitely would like to see them try. It looks like they're thinking about it. They're actually going to go ahead and seize that space. They've lost too much ground to try to contest into there. But actually, with Gator getting the pick, it's going to be a 65 for Atlanta Academy. They can continue this up-close hold. We talked about how much more popular up-close holds just in general have become on a lot of escort maps, and we're seeing it here on Dorado. And what this does is one pick, that's 10 to 30 seconds off of the clock for Team Envy's attack, and eventually Team Envy will get the ultimates and might have to, or required to, use them to break out, but the C-Mech onto Hawk is brutal for Atlanta Academy holding these.
Yeah, but Atlanta Academy, just like the ability to wear time off of the bank, they're going to get another guaranteed second defense after this initial choke. Or they might not even get that far with Kodak coming in once again with that Coalescence, being that bump mid-fight with the Coalescence.
There's that first ultimate that they've been able to take away from Team Envy, and it's not even going to be enough for them to break through. Hawkins comes one more time. He was able to get back into his mech, and a good purple is going to make sure Hawkins team-mech one more time. Saucy's 1% away from Lessard to solve. He is able to take down Agile. This might be the end of Atlanta Academy's up-close hold, but they were able to take about 2 minutes off the clock and a couple ultimates as well. So for the rest of Dorado, Dunlop's going to have to try one more time. Sharp, Fire, all going to have to get those ultimates once more. So Atlanta Academy in a very good position to hold where they would have held anyway.
Exactly, and they held on to EMP and Blizzard. EMP into Coalescence even will be enough to burn a squishy like Crimso's Ana. So Atlanta Academy going to be very pleased with how that early hold went for them. Sharp, though, does have the high ground here. This has been where Sugar Free has found so much value from his own Hanzo. Ooh, Team Envy, though, need to focus a little bit more resource on the ground game. Numlock taken to half.
Interesting that Sugar Free's on the Sombra instead of Saucy. Saucy was on the Sombra a little earlier today. To be able to flex on different CPS like that will be very good for the Gauntlet. EMP on Jaru, and Sugar Free dies. And I expected that. That means he's probably going to change things up for space. They wanted to get that ultimate out and maybe grit this thing out against Team Envy, but that's not been the case. Team Envy are in control here at the tail end. All they needed to do is break out a spawn, and there is that change. Sugar Free, go ahead and turn over the.
Yep. Despite the fact that Streets phase can be held at very long distance, the high ground is very exploitable. Atlanta Academy want to focus on the ground game, and especially, I'm guessing, keep Happy Cool contained. When the Roadhog does pop off, he makes such a difference. So what's better to go against a Roadhog than a Reaper Hawk? Oh, little teenage.
Yeah, I don't think he should have gone for that. That is an individual play. Oh, actually, it's going to end up working out for him, at least for one pick. Take the whole hog away from Team Envy. So this is terrible for Atlanta Academy. They were already behind an ultimate. They take an ultimate away from Team Envy in a position where they probably would have been able to break through anyway, and now things have evened up.
Kodak was stalling there, like nobody saw him. Happy Cool was basically standing on top of his head. And Atlanta Academy still scrapping out a couple of seconds here and there, but now, since they have decidedly lost that fight, they are going to be giving up this high ground to Sharp. Atlanta Academy do have Hawk, though, on this D.Va, so they can reclaim the high ground, which they surge onto right away. And Happy Cool, after using that full Hawk, is going to stick with this pick.
Coalescence starts off on the high ground. The wall's going to block up some healing from the Coalescence, and Hawk's going to be using that self-destruct. It's going to be more so he can reset his mech and his health. The Blizzard is not going to find any value for Team Envy, and it looks like Atlanta Academy have rebuffed Team Envy for the time being. We can expect them to be base here very soon, but Funny Astro with that sound barrier and Sugar Free and Saucy with the Blizzard and Deathbots and respectively have a lot more to use than Team Envy have at this moment in time, and now we're seeing if Hog was here, right, from that last push, Halo might still be going and potentially going to the second point, but Happy Cool still trying to get up to that other Hog. Numlock's still at 50% too on his.
Yeah, Team Envy are likely going to need some ultimates to give them a leg up, since Atlanta Academy, going back to that classic Atlanta playbook, never give up, never die. You have an advantage, push it. Sugar Free now, past the choke, and he has Death Blossom, so you can definitely use it, and the rest of Atlanta Academy on the same page. Gator providing a bit of shielding here, and Team Envy is going to have to work for every single inch, and that's how Atlanta Academy likes it.
Atlanta Academy now. Let's see how much they like all of those ultimates, because they've got 5 of them. Coalescence already against for Kodak. And when you let Kodak and Funny Astro play these two support characters and just let the brains free, this is what happens. They get those cooldowns much faster than other teams do, and Team Envy still struggling to come up onto other ultimate tactical, switching over to the Diva. Atlanta Academy gets, Vader gets slept. He's still alive somehow, but Jardo finally does finish him off. They got to deal with the Pharah somehow. Sugarfree's going to have a hard time doing it. Saucy is also purple. It doesn't look like he's got the cryo to stay alive, but Hawk going to deal with the Orisa in at the end. Numlock very slow to the supercharge. Jardo going to use that Rocket Barrage along with that Nano Boost. Finds 2 kills. He's going to get frozen, but it's not going to matter as Team Envy are able to break through anyway. But the unfortunate thing for Team Envy is that was before point A, right?
Yep.
They had to use all of that with under a minute left just to make it back onto the payload while they were having such a hard time getting to ultimates anyway.
Exactly. They were forced off of the competition they preferred just to counter what Atlanta Academy were bringing to the table. And Atlanta, they were happy again to just let that fight go. Don't use any more ultimates because this is going to be much more advantageous for them in the open space where they can make use of that blizzard.
Oh, this is bad though. Sharp starting to pop off 2 headshots for them. This could be a second point on the sole basis of this Widowmaker as Atlanta Academy lose out of a big ultimate advantage. Funny Astro also gets the down barrier canceled because of that headshot. That's really bad news for Atlanta Academy. At least they still have 4 ultimates. The Valkyrie is going to be very helpful for Team Envy. Is Atlanta Academy going to be able to stall it out? It looks like they will. Self-destructs are going to be out from the back line. Oh, that was cheeky, but it wasn't enough. As Numlocked and Jarro both taken pretty low. Blizzard now coming in from Atlanta Academy. Sugarfree with Purple Hawk. He's going to get another kill onto Numlocked. And the Blizzard was enough to stall it out and take Team Envy away from the payload. No presence for them. The Blizzard helping, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah, definitely helping out. It's so
You're grimacing, though,
unfortunate.
Why are you grimacing?
I'm grimacing because really the only exercise I get is working my face muscles. But Team Envy had a great opportunity. Sharp started to warm up. He had great positioning, but when Envy needed it most, they took their eyes off the ball. You gotta keep a body on the cart, and already you know anytime you're running the pharmacy, you're going to be depleted in terms of ground troops. Numlock gets frozen. That was Atlanta Academy's plan. He dies, and Happy Cool's bomb, well, it could have gotten a ton of kills. Kills are not what Team Envy needed at that exact moment. So Atlanta Academy managed to kind of squeak by. They had a strong defense for many parts of Dorado, but it looked like Envy were going to be able to overcome with some good old-fashioned mechanical play, and then they just get off the cart.
Can you feel it, Ham? Like, it's starting to feel like we're going through the motions again with Atlanta Academy, right? Before this game, Team Envy really started to push, but once Team Envy did not finish Nimbani, it kind of felt like, okay, let's sit back in our seats, let's relax a little bit. If you're Atlanta Academy, let's play our game. We've been playing it all season. Why are we trying to be special against Team Envy right now? Yeah, we might be trying some more comps. We also want some bragging rights, and being the #1 seed again is very important. In the NCAA tournament, #1 seeds win more often than not because they have an easier path going into the finals just inherently, and this way they get to earn it and do that at the Gauntlet as well. Atlanta Academy and Team Envy are going to face off against each other once more. Team Envy love to attack first for some reason, and Atlanta Academy has allowed them to do just that over the last couple of maps. I believe Team Envy has attacked at probably 98% of their maps attack first, so they like setting the pace, but when this happens, Atlanta Academy are totally cool with letting them do that.
Exactly, because Team Envy taking a pretty big risk here, I would say. Atlanta Academy has absolutely neutered Jarro's Pharah in the past with hacks and dedicated focus. So the fact that he's on defense now and Envy aren't going to have an opportunity to switch quickly should the need arise is a big gamble. Pays off, they get rid of Sugarfree, a big purple here. Hawk not able to eat that one that time.
Who do you look at? Do you look at Sharp or do you look at Widow? Oh, that's the same person. Or do you look at Pharah and Jaru in the sky? And Atlanta Academy having a hard time deciding which one to really focus down. They split their attention, and that leaves both of them able to find some picks. So you got to get that single-minded vision. We've called Atlanta Academy a hive mind in the past. They're kind of losing that, even though we're still going through the motions right now. And losing one fight isn't going to mean they're not going to capture point A, but it means that Team Envy gets to build that confidence back, which is what Atlanta Academy does not want them to do. And that Sugarfree just being in a bad position.
Yeah, Sugar Free should not get caught out from a rocket in a different zip code. Garu's literally just trying to get up to Barrage right now, firing rockets where he thinks he can predict some damage to land, and Atlanta Academy just sauntering right into their grasp. Team Envy, though, are going to be severely diminished in terms of ground presence once again with that Pharah and Sharp on the Widowmaker. So that means that they need to find a ton of value from these ultimates. They're getting pushed back right now, as they should, because they can't face tank it, but they gotta be able to take it fast.
The Nano onto the Orisa is going to save their lives, and in the meantime, they were focusing on the Orisa. Daru's able to use the Rocket Barrage in at the sky, and Daru's able to get right back up. His Mercy, though, is going to be very loud. Somehow the Mercy is still alive. How are you still alive? That mob will not die. Fire somehow survives the entire engagement, just a sliver of health, also getting the Valkyrie. And in the meantime, Atlanta Academy will be buffed once more. 1 minute, 35 seconds remaining.
Whew, they only needed 3 more meters here. This is not the time to forget about the cart, Team Envy. You are winning these fights outright, but if they lose sight of what's most important here again, we might see another letter number. Atlanta Academy, though, well stocked in terms of tools. Hawk does actually manage to get back in mech as well, so they can try and maintain some of this momentum. Push in with an EMP into Bomb, EMP into Death Blossom. In fact, they might simply go EMP first.
EMP hits one person, but they are able to take him down. But 5v5 Sharp still. Sugar Free's not been able to live on this map for very long. He's held on to this Death Blossom for almost a minute and a half now. And Jaru finds Funny after once more. Atlanta Academy investing a lot of ultimates now. Good hack on Jaru, going to cut the Rocket Barrage in half. The Hawk gets Team back, but is going to self-destruct. So now Sharp for a little longer. Actually gets the Pharah. That was not intentional. So that means Jaru just wasn't in a good position, and that's Team Envy shooting themselves in the foot a little bit.
Yeah, Team Envy, was possible that they might have been able to hold, but Atlanta Academy, again, seemingly against all odds, able to bring things back. And now they have 3 minutes to complete Streets phase, which is one of the tougher parts of Numbani to complete.
Dorado.
Dorado. Atlanta Academy, again, still have EMP into Death Blossom. I was going to say they could try and bait out Matrix, bait out cooldowns by popping Death Blossom early, so you know that those aren't going to be available for the other EMP combo. But Atlanta Academy, as they are wont to do, though, simply just ran right in. And now Gator is going to swap onto the Winston to better control this high ground. A good pick, if I do say so.
Will Sugar Free ult? That is my question. Will we see the Death Blossom? He's been holding on to it. 7.8. Saucy going to use that EMP sound barrier. Also going to keep Atlanta Academy nice and healthy. Sugar Free is going to dab on some pulls. And he's not going to ult. So the answer was no. He is not going to use the Death Blossom just yet. That's going to be okay. You don't want to waste it in a fight that you were already going to win. And he's going to use it to get rid of the Widowmaker and both support. That's what you want to use that Death Blossom for. He held on to it for the perfect time. In my solo queue games, that means you're probably losing. But in this game, it's because he's got a good head on his shoulders. As Atlanta Academy will just run through Street Space here. Beautiful Death Blossom. Sugar Free. That was all intentional, and I like seeing players do that, right? Yep. It wasn't like, oh, like Hot Bomb earlier, right? Oh, I got the Pharah, awesome! Right, that was, I'm going up here, that was communicating exactly. He's continuing to produce on the field.
Not over just yet. There is still a Hammond to sweep up, but Atlanta Academy now 1 map away from taking that first seed. The coveted King of North America is within their grasp. And I love that, Boop, you mentioned that intent, right? Because it's not about, this is something we like to say all the time. You don't have to win every fight. You just have to win the right fights. And in this case, it was not a question of quantity, but quality of ultimate. Because Team Envy, they were running, some more risky DPS heroes.
That was one of Jaru's better Pharah games today. So it wasn't like everything was bad. Just unfortunately, Atlanta Academy came into it with a better game plan for a lot of those fights, right?
Yeah, I just meant like, Sugar Free was holding on to that ultimate for most of the game, and when he did unleash it, boy, did it make an impact.
Yep, exactly. Sugar Free's been making a huge impact for Atlanta Academy and the rest of Contenders so far. I think what Owl season would it be once he's eligible? So I think he's 14 now, right? And so it would be like season 2, so at least 4 seasons.
Season 6.
So Owl season 6, you got your star here, sugar-free.
Yeah.
Everyone's got to, you know, in basketball, sometimes colleges will sign like 11-year-olds, right? I wonder if that's going to be a thing in Overwatch League somehow, because they kind of just like reserve them, right? It's because I remember seeing like a kid in Kansas got signed to like Duke or something, or probably Kansas University, like when he was 12.
I mean, they kind of are reserving sugar-free. He's playing for an academy team, Atlanta Academy. So the most natural progression would be to Atlanta Reign. There's actually been some recent changes to the academy rules to further incentivize Owl teams to invest in academy teams long-term in those players who they're going to be looking at down the line, 2, 3, 4, 5 years later. So that's all really exciting stuff to look forward to in the future. But what's a little bit more immediate in the future is our deciding map. Is Team Evie going to be able to bring it back? Go for the reverse
What a
sweep?
segue.
Thank you.
You should be proud of that one. That was way better than Holy Cool.
I disagree, but we can agree to disagree.
Team Envy and Atlanta Academy will battle it out once more on control. And Atlanta Academy has been very good on control. And the thing is, Team Envy, throughout the season, when they were up for the golden season, what map type did they struggle on the most? It was control. I think they got a lot of round 3s, but they ended up winning on control because they only lost 1 map throughout the rest of the season. It's so funny because any other year we would have been like, Envy's lost 1 map, that's it, right? But on the other side of the equation, Atlanta Academy didn't lose any in the regular season, and it just goes to show as well, Atlanta Academy with, I think, flashier play, with more up-tempo style, and I think a little bit more name recognition for some of their players, I think are being spoken of a little bit more. But hopefully after today, Team Envy has been able to challenge Atlanta Academy more than any other team so far this season, and you got to give them credit as well, because they came into this, I believe, as an underdog, especially after their tank flank change in the middle of the season, and they're really pushing Atlanta Academy. None of this has been coming easy for Atlanta. And even though Team Envy didn't finish the last 2 maps, they've almost forced Atlanta to not finish the last 2 maps too. And this is good. This is good. This kind of parity is really good going into the Gauntlet, because then Atlanta Academy don't have to depend on Overwatch League teams to scrim to find teams that are at in comparable level to Talon and the rest of the Korean squads.
They get a taste of what this feels like early on, and Team Envy staying flexible, but unfortunately that wasn't enough to bring them over the edge. They're definitely kicking themselves for that earlier C9, because map could have gone on longer. We could have seen more ultimate, more opportunities for Team Envy to find that magic here. Just a little bit of that teamwork to DMEC Hawk. So we do head to Ilios Control, and this is another stomping ground, very popular with Pharas. So I'm really curious if Team Envy is going to continue on with the pharmacy composition, because the other option is simply to go back to Lucio Moira, Lucio Ana, because somebody that we haven't really been talking about a lot, that we usually are constantly singing the praises of, are Fire and Crimzo. They've had a pretty quiet game. Part of it is going to be the hero swaps. Mercy
they had a better first half.
Yeah, Mercy is not going to be somebody that you're really popping off on, but it would be lovely to see a bit more production from those MV supports, because they're such an integral part of why this team has done so well. And in fact, we are going to see Lucio Moira from both sides.
Well, we're also like splitting hairs here when it comes to both of these two teams, because they're having impact, just like not exactly how we expect them, right? We expect Crimzo to find frags every time he's on the field, even as Ana. He's the one that shows up on that kill feed. Fire, too, shows up on the kill feed probably more than any other Lucio in Contenders, and I still believe that's the best support line in Contenders right now, but they're getting matched up against another support line that's of equal, if not at times better skill, and I think there's going to be a little bit more of an adjustment there. And you're seeing both of them actually repeat in terms of ult charge, in terms of those Moiras. Same thing with Fire and Funny Astro. Team Envy, though, capture the point first. Nice Maywall's going to isolate the Reaper. Sugar Free, though, gets the team before he has to race off away.
Yeah, the wall, they're not going to find much, but Happy Cool finds the kill and trade it back.
Coalescence now coming in from Atlanta Academy second. That's going to be a little bit better for the Crimson's going to have to use the Coalescence to heal his friends. You really want to try to push in a little bit of damage, and the Coalescence from Atlanta Academy going to push out that Moira, zone them out. And in the final blow, Atlanta Academy are going to be able to flip this 36% for Team Envy.
Atlanta Academy took a long time to swap over to the Orisa comp rather than giving the Winston composition a good old college try, because they're very confident. Even if we're down ultimates, even if we're down, we don't control the point right away. If we just play our own game, we are going to capture it. And who can argue with that? Despite having a disadvantage, they're now matching Team Envy in terms of ultimate charge.
The Orisa gets taken very low. Gator going to need a little bit more healing, but 5 ultimates for Atlanta Academy is way more than what Team Envy has. Blizzard comes through, that should send out Team Envy for the time being. There's really no way that Team Envy can aggress upon Atlanta Academy at the current time. Team out of Coalescence. Death Blossom was supposed to help, but used a little ahead of time. You want to line that up with the Coalescence coming in from Rizzo, but he jumped the gun just a little bit. Atlanta Academy maintained their advantage.
I'm really curious, Team Envy's game plan right there, because they had just lost Numlock. They lost Numlock, and then we have Sharp all inning with that Death Blossom, a strategy that I would love to see from Team Envy, because they have had trouble winning these fights, is using the Death Blossom, debating the Matrix out from Hawk, and then plopping a Blizzard or something down, because you don't have to take the first fight that offers itself to you, but a lot of times you're going to be better served to better fight.
Ultimate Economy has evened up. Nice wall from Jaru, but a nice wall coming in from Atlanta Academy helps their cause as well. Blizzard into the back line, but Sugar Free going to use the Death Blossom takedown too. Atlanta Academy will survive for the time being, but the Blizzard is going to really affect Atlanta Academy in the late stages of that team fight, and Atlanta Academy has to be able to get to 80%. That is pretty much one-win territory for them, as Team Envy are going to retake the
I'm really curious what happened there with Jaru's May. I thought he had cryoed, but then he comes out of it and gets killed by Sugar Free's Death Blossom, maybe just an accidental finger slip. Regardless, though, Team Envy didn't manage to capitalize off the back of his ultimate, but that wasn't exactly the cleanest play. And Atlanta Academy, you can't always guarantee you're going to be able to find those kinds of opportunities. So Team Envy needs to be playing very cleanly from here on out, because they can't afford to lose another match.
Coalescence now coming in from Team Envy is going to be blocked by the wall. You're going to use the Blizzard, go against it, and this is actually huge. They broke through the wall. Defense Matrix was able to peek its way in, and that Blizzard slid right into that DM. Atlanta Academy now going to be losing out that mech as well. 70% for Team Envy. That means Atlanta gets one more shot.
One more shot, but they got the Kodak Coalescence.
It's Hamilton.
Team Envy, though, have been playing really well with the tools that they have. It hasn't been going perfectly for them, but now they control the point. So any kind of stall, any percentage is going to be good. Atlanta Academy are the ones who have to go for the complete wipe. And with only a Coalescence and maybe a Sound Barrier, that's going to be easier said than done.
Coalescence is going to start things off, but Maywall's going to get broken immediately. Death Blossom into the backline. Coalescence is going to be enough healing. It looks like it will. It's Hawk going to find the pick onto the Reaper. That should have been way more impactful coming in from Team Envy. All of Team Envy's ultimates are going to use at the same time. The Sound Barrier is there to counter. That Blizzard Sugar Free is going to get cold. So is Hawk, and Atlanta Academy are losing this slowly but surely, and Team Envy are on the brink of winning this round on Ilios.
On their worst map type, Envy overcome the odds. Love that play. Sharp was kind of almost serving as bait, right? Look at me, I'm so edgy. Oh, life is just a struggle. Death blossoming out there in kind of just no man's land, eating up all of the defense matrix from Hawk, taking all those resources away from Atlanta Academy, and then Team Envy tossed the Blizzard. That also gives them an opportunity to beat the team that Sound Barrier's second, when they really want to flip the switch and tempo things out after Funny Astro has already expended that ultimate for the Blizzard. So Team Envy, in the end, able to out-mind game Atlanta Academy.
Atlanta Academy are behind here on Ilios as Team Envy were able to take a Lighthouse. Atlanta Academy now running Sugar Free on Tracer. This is really, really exciting. Sharp is the other Tracer I really, really like. Hopefully we can set up a Tracer versus Tracer matchup, but Sharp on the McCree is going to be a nice counter to what Sugar Free is running. All you have to do is Flash Bang, and that Tracer is dead, and he sees that, and he's going to run away from now. Decides to try it out. Maybe he's able to get one of his teammates to bait out that Flash Bang before he gets there, but if Sharp's going to be a little heads up, he's going to save it for the Tracer regardless. Or if Atlanta Academy get into the face of the McCree, take the Flash Bang out, it's going to be much easier for Sugar Free to get those one clips in, which almost happens with the Hanzo, but Sharp going to take down the Sombra instead. Sugar Free's got to have to get in front of the shield. He's already almost at 50% on that Pulse Bomb. Funny Astro gets to take on to the Hanzo, and the Rissa will follow next. It's 2 picks each. Sugar Free going to have to be lined away. So far, the Tracer is running a lot of interference in the back line, but now we're seeing why McCree is so good against that Tracer. It doesn't take much to take the Tracer down. As Atlanta Academy going to get colored purple, they should be losing out this fight here soon, and Sharp already at a bit.
That's really impressive stuff, and also from his teammates to keep him alive for so long. Happy Cool with that Roadhog, using that beaten body to absorb some of the damage and keep that McCree alive. It's a great pick, not only against the Tracer, but the Sombra as well, who's the first one to fall. And that means that Team Envy have not only given themselves a man advantage in that early fight, but also cut down the chance of Saucy getting EMP in the first round, which indeed we see he's only just now getting to 60%. Sugar Free going to swap onto the Reaper. Also not the world's best matchup against a McCree, but Atlanta just needs some way to get a little bit more damage out without losing their DPS.
Kodak's going to go in line with the proximity man. Deadeye going to take down Sugar Free. You just said it yourself. And Sharp going to get zoned out by the Wrecking Ball. Self-destruct not going to do much. Actually, Sharp going to win the 1v1 against that Wrecking Ball. Atlanta Academy will fall once more, even though they're evening up some picks with Saucy. It's not going to be enough. Is that going to be a boop into the well? No, it will not. He focused so much on getting the Arista into the well, he forgot about the Roadhog on the other side.
Nobody expects the sudden Roadhog. Atlanta Academy now looking down the barrel of a 40% for Team Envy, and they have 3 ultimates, nearly 4 with Jaru's Blizzard. Saucy got to find some value from this EMP. The hard part is going to be, even if he gets a 6-man, Atlanta Academy have to rush in, potentially at their own detriment, to capitalize off of it because nobody has long distance damage.
Sharp on this. McCree has been so annoying against Atlanta Academy. The sound barrier is going to be late. This is some miscommunication coming both sides, but Funny Ash are going to get the boot kill. Bullhog not going to be enough to take down the rest of Atlanta Academy, and Team Envy are going to be losing this, and they want to try to get to 80%. If not, then they're going to give Atlanta Academy a couple opportunities to win out.
Still alive for now, though. 2 incredibly tanky tanks just doing their job. We nearly see the hook pull into the well, but Atlanta Academy survive, and now they own the point for the first time this entire round. They cannot give up another single fight, and that's going to be pretty difficult. Hawk's got to find some value from this bomb. We also got to see Kodak produce with this coalescence, because Envy, their win condition is body their way onto the point, drop Jaru's Blizzard, get 1 pick, and they'll work that man advantage.
Gator going to give his supports a little bit more ult charge. Hawk and Gator will have ultimates coming up, so will Kodak. 3 ultimates along with the EMP. Coalescence is going to be the first thing that they use to start. The McCree's going to be who they try to focus. EMP hits 4 members of Team Envy. Coalescence is going to rip right through them. And now all they have is a self-destruct, though. They're going to really need Sugar Free to start developing this Death Blossom. Getting to 73% is very good for them.
But Team Envy are going to be able to answer with a High Noon or potentially a Blizzard. Reaper is something of a sitting duck during the channeling of his ultimates, and Atlanta Academy don't have any tools currently to keep him alive. Bunny Astra's close to that sound barrier, but if Team Envy push the tempo, they can overwhelm Atlanta Academy.
60% now for Atlanta Academy, and a big opening pick for them. That is going to potentially bring them into that one-fight territory. Funny Asher, though, going to get taken down by that Deadeye, especially since Pop is trying to interface somewhere else. He's going to drop the mech in front of the wall, but you're trying to be a little bit of a hero there, Hawk. That wasn't the best play for you or your team. You're potentially giving up the map because of it.
Atlanta Academy desperately trying to stall things out here. Woo, Funny Astra trying to boot the McCree into the well once again, but in the meantime, the rest of Team Envy taking Atlanta to town.
They still haven't been able to flip it just yet. Sharp going to use that flashbang to make sure Sugar Free isn't going to be able to ult. Nice halt against Hawk as well. I believe Atlanta Academy will have enough time to get someone onto the point. It's all about how they get there and if they're willing to just put it all on the line, because they might not get another opportunity here on well. As Team Envy already at 94%. Very interesting that they use the wall in that moment in time, so they're not going to be able to block them off as they come in. Coalescence is going to try to get the supercharger out of the way, and Atlanta Academy going to use the sound barrier as well. Where is Sugar Free? You got to think about that death block into the back line. Gator's going to be so very low. Really good healing biotic orb there for the player to keep everyone alive. The team that gets 1 kill. That's going to be it, as the flashbang's going to make sure that Sugar Free goes back to spawn. Saucy going to use that. I think Hawk is able to get back into the mech. Another really great halt from Numlock, and Team Envy in control.
Team Envy in complete control here in overtime. The supercharger is available for Atlanta, though, so that shield's going to go down quickly. Oh, and that's a pick that Envy could not afford.
Hawk, though, going to throw that self-destruct. The Hulk comes right back, and they're going to take Numlock down. It's just a comeback for Atlanta Academy. It sure is looking like it. As Team Envy seems to be needing a little bit of space. They are able to flip the point. Sugar Free is now on the juke as Coalescence is available for Atlanta Academy. So if the player avoids the Blizzard and the Deadeye, Atlanta Academy are actually looking quite good. Saucy should be able to get to that Blizzard himself. Very few, 99 to 99. Oh my goodness! As Sugar Free going to land that rocket punch. Hawk is frozen. He's going to have to try to get out of there. The team next is very close to happening. There for Hawk, Kodak uses Coalescence to do just that, and he's going to get slipped, but not before he falls. Atlanta Academy for the second time today come back from an inconceivable situation where Envy seemed like they were on the brink of winning out Ilios, but come back and take it in at the end. This is going to be a thing with Team Envy. If this repeats itself at the Gauntlet, you got to close these games out. You can't relax. You've let Atlanta Academy twice now come back in a control round.
Exactly. Maybe coach to threaten lack of caffeine unless Team Envy perform. Coffee is for closers only. This is just really something. You can't let this happen because Atlanta Academy is not going to be the toughest opponent that Team Envy face in the Gauntlet. And if you're struggling in those end fight scenarios against an opponent in your own region, then add on top of that the unexpected comps, the unexpected strats. You're not going to be as used to playing against somebody, a team from Korea. So Envy, it's time to level up your game here on Ruins. It's all or nothing. If Atlanta take this, they take the entire series, and with that, the first seeding heading into the Gauntlet.
Team Envy are going to try to make sure that does not happen. They want to extend this series just a little while longer. They have to get to 4 games. This is the first of 4 Atlanta Academy on match point here on Ruins. Very interesting that not a ton of long distance damage coming from both sides. Ruins used to be the land of the sniper, as Kodak getting very close to another Coalescence, and so is Crimzo. They should be crossing the beams here very soon as Numlock and Fire also taken very low, and Sugar Free is able to find that kill onto the Orisa. Coalescence is going to come in a little late to save the Orisa, but might be able to save the rest of the push. But Happy gonna get frozen and taken down. At this point, Atlanta can take some casualties and still win out the point.
Saucy getting so much value from Nades, Endothermic Blaster. You saw the way that Atlanta Academy bodied Team Envy, giving that Mei so much room. She froze both tanks at the same time. And while it wasn't a minute, those momentary seconds can mean the difference between your team winning the fight and your team losing it. Numlock couldn't put his shield down, Happy couldn't DM when Team Envy desperately needed it, and now they're going to be playing from behind. Even though Sound Barrier is nearly up, Jaro nearly has Blizzard, Atlanta Academy already have them.
Gator going to use the supercharge to put it right behind the wall on the incline. That's going to keep it safe so she can move the shield into a better position for the team. And basically, it's just going to zone it out. It should be up to 50% before Team Envy try to attack once more. They know that they don't have the ability to attack. And Atlanta Academy have a ton of ultimates. Team Envy, though, coming up on it. There's Coalescence coming in a little bit earlier than Atlanta Academy. Just lost them in the back line. Going to cut through Team Envy. 2 kills for Sugar Free.
Sugar Free. Oh, I like it. We're getting a little bit of a tactical crouch. Atlanta Academy is starting to finally feel themselves once again. We're used to seeing, the BM, the strategic shuffle every single match, which just goes to show how much Team Envy has been challenging them. But we finally got the tactical crouch, and Team Envy, if nothing else has motivated them, that's going to give them this extra boost along with the 4 check marks they have.
Not a lot of email spamming from the Hawk. Maybe we got to start that once more. As the Orisa going to try to assert himself. Unlock. That was very interesting positioning coming from you. Maybe expecting the Sound Barrier to do a little bit more. Death Blossom into the back line is going to get countered by the Sound Barrier. At first, that looked like that was going to be enough, but Team Envy have to win it here or else they're going home for the season. Sharp does find a kill, though. Still potentially a fight for Team Envy, but no. We end the season with Atlanta Academy at number 1, friends. They take down Team Envy. Unfortunately, no one was able to get on the point. Team Envy to end out Ruins, and Atlanta Academy will take the first seed going into the Gauntlet. It's going to be Atlanta Academy number 1, Team Envy number 2, XL2 number 3. It's a lot of numbers, and Gladiators Legion on number 4.
Yep, but it's still a congratulations. Those will be all 4 teams heading to the Gauntlet representing North America in the international scene. Atlanta Academy getting some good reps in there towards the end on the compositions that they're likely to be playing in the Gauntlet, as well as a little bit of exercise and, just stretching on the Genji, just stretching a little bit on some of the dive heroes because, just future predicting a little bit. I think that in the future, we are actually going to see the return of Dive. We're going to see the viability of Reinhardt and Zarya head back in here. So while Atlanta Academy maybe looked a little bit shaky on some of those comps, it's never bad to practice for the future.
And so that they do, and that's a bright future indeed for a lot of these players. We talked about Sugar Free, we've talked about Hawk, but all of these players that we've seen today have the potential to move up. They just got to find that magic, and going to the Gauntlet's a really great way to show yourself to those scouts. Because remember, all the Overwatch League teams are sending scouts. The Gauntlet is like a quasi combine. If you guys are football fans at home, the NFL combines where a lot of college seniors go, college juniors go, they get tested out, they do the 40-yard dash, they lift some weights, and basically the scouts will decide, hey, I want this guy on my team. That's what's going to be the Gauntlet. And that's not just a good opportunity for North America, but it's really awesome for teams from Pacific and China.
Australia.
People who don't normally get a lot of eyes on them, they're going to have those opportunities at the Gauntlet. And that's why it's going to be such a great event. But that's going to mark the end of Contenders North America Season 2 for 2019. That is the last game for Contenders North America. Ham, what do you got to say to the friends at home?
Stay tuned for Gauntlet.
That's it. That's going to be your last sign-up of the year.
That's going to be my last sign-up. I mean, well, it's just been an amazing journey so far on Contenders. And even though Boop and I have been here for a couple of seasons already, every single season we learn something new about ourselves as a duo, about these teams, about this wonderful Overwatch community. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, everyone at home who plays, who watches, and thank you to everyone who takes part in Contenders. That's our producer. That's everyone who works with our producer, everyone at the Blizzard office, everyone who helps set up these cameras. And we just want to say thank you so much for watching. And that's going to be it for North American Contenders. I'm Boop here with Ham, and we're signing off for the last time this year. See you later.